This is Mayor Oliver Gilbert, and we've gone virtual. While we're staying at home, remaining safe, I want to make sure that the activities that we enjoy together as a community could be brought to you online. Join me for healthy cooking and nutrition with Common Threads. Let's cook and stay healthy together. Bon appetit.
Hi, everybody. This is Mimi, chef instructor with Common Threads. Common Threads is a national nonprofit that teaches nutrition education and cooking skills to kids and families, and working with families to get them to eat healthy meals at home. So all of our recipes you can find on our website, commonbites.org. That's BYTES.org, Common Bites. There is recipes for snacks and full meals, desserts, juices, anything that you can think of. We have healthy recipes for. So check it out when you have a chance. Today, we are going to be focusing on healthy breakfast. Breakfast is such an important part of your day. There's just countless studies about how eating breakfast, sets you up for a productive, alert day. People who eat breakfast tend to eat better throughout the day, so healthier overall. For kids, it is just such an important part of their nutrition to be alert and well fed for school. It improves in their writing skills and education overall, but math skills and writing skills, and even on standardized tests, it's shown that kids who eat breakfast do better on those. So obviously a very important part of our day, and I'm going to show you how to make a very quick, delicious, and nutritious breakfast any day of the week. This is a banana bread oatmeal, so we're going to be focusing on oats. Oats are just such a great way to start the day. They are very affordable, very accessible. They can be made into many different recipes. There's different types of oats, but today I'm going to be actually using a very common type that we all find in our markets, and this is a quick 1-minute cooking oat. So obviously super fast cooking. It's not going to take you a lot of time. So oats is the sort of star of our recipe. Some of the other ingredients that we're going to be using today to highlight the oats, some brown sugar. So only 3 tablespoons of brown sugar in the recipe. Some pecans. So it doesn't have to be pecans. If you have other different types of nuts in your home that you would like to use, that would be great. If you are allergic, obviously you wouldn't add that, but you won't miss it. It's delicious with, and it's delicious without. We're going to give a little bit of flavor to our oatmeal with some spices, including nutmeg and cinnamon. And then also a little bit of salt, of course. Salt in all of our food brings out flavor. So we always add salt, whether it's a sweet or savory dish. There's always some salt in there, so that's the purpose of the salt. We are also going to be using bananas, which we're going to be mashing up, and then we will top the finished products, our finished dish, our oatmeal, our banana bread oatmeal, with some toppings. So we're going to start by toasting the pecans. So I just have about a tablespoon of pecans here. And when you toast pecans or any kind of nut, you want to toast it in a pan that has no oil in it. Pecans and all nuts have that good kind of fat and that good kind of oil, the plant-based oil that we talk so much about. So that's what you're gonna heat up in the pan. So I am going to use 1 pot for the whole entire recipe. So I'm going to start by toasting my pecans, taking them out, and then continuing on with the same pot to finish the rest of the recipe. So to toast any pecans on the stovetop, just have to keep an eye on it. They toast really quickly because all of those oils are going to start to come out as soon as they hit the heat, and they toast really, really quick. So this is just a really fast process. I'm going to let my pan heat up. As usual, I want my pan to heat up before I add any ingredients. I do that with pretty much anything that I'm cooking, unless there's a very specific reason why you should start out with a cold pan. But normally, that's a good rule of thumb. So start out with a nice hot pan. In the meantime, I'll show you some of the stuff that we'll be topping the oatmeal with. So this is just yogurt, non-fat, or actually part skim, but it doesn't have any sugar or any flavoring in it. I like to buy yogurt like that just because I like to add my own, so I'll add a little honey sometimes to my yogurt, and then fruits and nuts or whatever. But it really gives you the control over being able to add, certain amounts of sugar or salt or whatever the case may be. So those store-bought yogurts that come with flavor and sugar have so much sugar in them. Next time you're at the store, look at the label and check it out. It's got a ton of sugar. I think it could be almost as much as you would find in a can of soda. So really lots of sugar in those, which is really misleading. You think of yogurt as a very, it can be a low-fat yogurt and still have that much sugar. So you think of yogurt as a very healthy option, but sometimes those store-bought flavored yogurts are not the healthiest option by far. All right, so my pecans are just going in there. I mean, there's not much to see here. It's just some pecans there. They toast really quickly, so I'm going to give that like a minute. And while they toast, I'm going to go ahead and mash my bananas. So super simple. Get your kids in the kitchen. Show them how to do this. Get them busy. Mash up those bananas. Use up the bananas that are at home that are sort of turning to become a little too ripe to eat, just like that. And so these are perfect for what we're doing here. So mashing them up really well. Get in there with your fork. That's the easiest way to do it, I find. And make sure that you just get out most of those lumps. So that is the banana. It's going to give our oatmeal so much flavor. And really easy to just sort of whip together in the morning. All right, so these pecans have been heating up in here for a few seconds. So I'm just going to make sure that they're not, my fire is on high there. So I got to keep a really close eye on the pecans. We do not want them to burn, and they will burn super quickly. I actually think that I am good to go. So I'm just going to put them on a cutting board that I have ready right here, because I'm going to chop them up to add into the oatmeal when we're ready to do that. Okay, so the next step is we are going to add the milk. So I'm making half the recipe that you'll find online. So this is a cup and a half of milk. So I'm going to go ahead and add it here. When you bring milk to a boil, you want to do it gently because it can scald and burn really, really easily. So I'm going to give a chance to my pot to just cool down a little bit because I had those pecans in there just now. So in the meantime, what I can do is add the other ingredients straight into my milk so that when I pour it in there, everything is ready to go. So the other ingredients that are going with the milk in the first step of the recipe include the brown sugar. So this is about 2 tablespoons or a tablespoon and a half of brown sugar. And we are going to put in there about a half teaspoon of cinnamon. So these are very easy recipes to scale. So if you wanted to make a bigger batch, super easy to do that. If you needed to cut it down, I, for example, for today, cut this recipe into half. This is a 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg. So just a little bit of nutmeg, and then that little bit of salt. So we're going to add that. And now I feel like I can pour this in here. Still a little bit hot, but that's fine. And we're going to start bringing that to a boil. So the milk, the spices, the sugar, those are all in there. And we're going to give it a minute to heat up and then start stirring. Again, when you're bringing some milk to a boil, you don't want to do it too harshly because milk will burn very, very quickly. There's some sugar at the bottom of my measuring cup here. We're going to get all of that in there to flavor the oats. So yeah, so there's different types of oats. that are available at the grocery store: steel cut oats, instant oats, quick oats, traditional oats. They're all different. The biggest difference in them is how small they're cut and how refined they are. But all of them are whole grains, which means that they all include the outside of the grain, which is called the bran, and the inside of the grain, which is called the seed. And those parts of the grain are the parts that have the most nutrition. So when you're choosing any type of grain, you always want to go with the whole grain. So oats are a whole grain. No matter which type you're getting, it is a whole grain. So the biggest difference, again, is just the size of the oat. I mean, the how thinly they're cut, which affects how quickly they cook. So if it's a very thinly cut oat, like the one I'm using today with quick oats, it's going to cook quicker. Instant oats will cook even faster. So it's just, that's the only difference. Other than that, the nutritional value is the same. And, you know, the final product is also going to be a little bit different with textures, right? So the texture of the whole thicker oat is going to be heartier, and the thinner sliced oats are going to be a little bit smoother. So this is already coming up to a boil. This is a super fast recipe. So something really that you could whip up in a moment's notice. So you know that that milk is coming to a boil when it starts to sort of froth up into the pan, and it's very easily can boil over. So that's why you want to keep an eye on it. I just shut it off so that I could take some time to measure my oats. So for this recipe, it's only a cup of oats. And again, I'm doing half the recipe. So if you were doing the whole recipe, it would be 2 cups of oats. And I'm going to turn this back on, stir in my oats. I'm going to make sure that the fire is not too high. I want to be able to control that heat as much as possible, since the milk is nice and hot already. And I'm just going to start stirring in my oats. I bought that the 1 minute quick cooking oats, so this is not going to be a long process at all. And basically, you're going to just keep on stirring it in there. The oats will start absorbing that liquid really quickly. So give it a minute to cook. Let them absorb most of the liquid. And then we are going to add the mashed bananas and some pecans, and that'll be it. So super easy. And I'm going to show you what we're going to do at the end to make this a more complete breakfast. Because right now, you're definitely getting your whole grains, and you're also getting your veggies, your fruits and veggie servings with that banana in the oats. So right there, you're getting 2 out of 3. We're missing 1 to make this a very complete, nutritious meal, and that's going to be some protein. So I'm going to show you how we are going to add protein. So instead of, you know, having a breakfast with some fatty sausage or something like that, there are other ways to include your protein in a healthy way, so to help us maintain our bodies as healthy as possible. Super important all the time, but especially nowadays with this virus going around, threatening all of us so you know, keeping our bodies nice and healthy is a priority. All right, so I'm stirring, I'm letting it absorb. The oats are cooking. I'm going to show you what it looks like so far. I'm going to turn my heat up a little bit so that it starts cooking a little bit faster. Oh, it turned off completely. No wonder. All right, so yeah, definitely an easy, super easy recipe to make any day of the week. You could also, you know, put some leftovers in your refrigerator and reheat them. You would probably want to add a little bit more liquid when you're reheating them, maybe a little more milk to sort of thin them out a little bit, because in the refrigerator they will absorb, you know, all of the liquid and sort of seize up. So you can reconstitute them with some milk the next day. Okay, so this is looking pretty good. It's starting to bubble, starting to cook really well, and we're gonna add the bananas and let those flavors combine and let the sugar of the banana sort of be absorbed into the creamy milk and the oats, giving this lots of flavor. Okay, and this is now almost ready to be served up. I would recommend waiting a few minutes before you dig into it, because that's going to be pretty hot. Milk gets so hot when you bring it up to the boil like that. It's one of those things that if you try to drink it too soon, it's, I think, different than water in that way. It can hurt. So you want to make sure you give it a few minutes to cool down. Okay, so let me show you the consistency that I have here. Depending on how thick or thin you like your oatmeal, you might want to add some more oats or less liquid, whatever the case may be. Maybe you like it a little thicker. I like it like that. So this is ready to serve up. And here is when we are going to add pecans. So pecans are a plant-based source of protein. We are only using, a small handful of pecans, so you're not getting a ton of protein from the pecans here, but you are getting a lot of flavor and texture, because these like pieces of pecan in your oatmeal are going to be crunchy and really, really nice to eat in the as you're eating. Okay, so I'm going to save some of them to put on the top of my served oatmeal, and I'm going to slice up a little banana. So adding a little more, eye appeal to the finished product is great. That'll get your kids to want to eat more. If it looks really pretty and appetizing, they're going to be all about it. And in a second, I'm going to show you that last serving of protein that we're going to add into this cooked oatmeal. Okay, so the oatmeal is finished. I'm going to plate it up into a bowl. So we got the bananas in there, a little bit of brown sugar, nutmeg, cinnamon, some salt to bring out the flavor and everything. We're using oats, and we are also using, I think I already said, bananas, and the pecans. Okay, so what I'm going to add to it then is, so here's my served up oatmeal. I'm going to add just a spoonful of yogurt. So that's that plain fat-free yogurt that you can purchase without any additives, no sugar, no flavoring. You can just add your flavoring yourself. So I'm going to give it a quick stir just to stir out any lumps, and put a nice little dollop of that right on top. It's going to give it a nice creamy, even creamier texture. And then I'm going to add some bananas, sliced bananas on the top. You could even finish this off with a little drizzle of maple syrup. That would be really nice. And the pecans. And there you got it. Banana bread oatmeal from the Common Threads website. So that website is commonbites.org. Thanks so much for being here today. I hope to see you guys next week. Enjoy.
I hope you enjoyed today's session. I did. Join us every Thursday at 1 p.m. on Facebook Live for healthy cooking and nutrition classes with Common Threads. If you want to view the session again, visit cmgengage.com/virtual. See you next week. Now tell me, do you really think you can walk